Welcome back to Entertainment Banter. My name is Joel.
And I'm Matt.
And we are back for another episode.
We're back.
No, we've always been back.
We've always been here. We never left.
We never left.
Okay, so let's due to popular demand, our one fan, maybe two, yeah, 2.5. I don't know if anybody that actually active listeners knows, but we're kind of behind in our pods, and what we mean by that is Joel and I are busy.
We're not relevant.
We're very relevant when we talk about it, but we become immediately obsolete when, let's say, something big happens, like some sort of virus that takes over the world. And we've been podding for 5 months by now, but we don't pod we only post once a week. So by the time we post, all of our information is so outdated. And in the past, we didn't care because if you didn't see the movie, who gives a crap? But when we're talking about something like, I don't know, a virus that takes over the world, and we're talking about how it's relevant to entertainment and what we've been talking about, we realized that either everyone's going to be dead or everyone's going to be back and healthy again by the time any of our stuff has been airing. So Joel and I decided that, what were we going to do, Joel?
We are going, wait for it, we're going to release an episode the day we record it.
A day we record it. So what about the ones in between? Are we going to just...
So right now we have, we started slowly getting relevant, but we still were just a little behind.
Well, again, because
one of our fans is still waiting for Titanic to come out. That'll get posted soon. I promise. I promise. She won't sink again without us talking about it. Mm-mm. So we have a few episodes. So tomorrow, to help you quench your quarantine needs, we are going to release 4 episodes.
It might be 4. Yeah,
maybe
I'm not
5,
sure.
Including this one.
Maybe 5. Yeah, including this one.
And those will be all posted at once. And then next Saturday will be a relevant, fresh episode that we don't even know. We don't even know at this point. We don't even know.
Joel left his book of knowledge in a foreign land. Because
South Bend is not maybe.
when this thing hit, he decided to leave all of his belongings on a tour. So it was just brilliant idea.
I didn't think I was gonna be gone for 2 months, 3 months.
I'm just glad you brought Mario Kart so we can play online.
Smash Brothers is still there. I'm really upset by that. I left Smash Brothers behind. Never leave Smash Brothers. How big are those games, Matt? How big are those games?
I know, Joel. I can't even. You could have shoved it up your nose on the flight. I mean, they're that small. You know what I mean? You couldn't have just put them in your pocket
or my wallet.
They're Switch games. They're like the tiniest SD card type games you could get. They're smaller than SD cards. Some of them. Anyways, okay, so relevant conversation. It's not that relevant because it happened like a week and a half ago, but we haven't been able to pod in a while.
But today is relevant. But today
what's funny about it is our previous pod, as we post in order, we talked to Nick.
If you listen to these in order,
if you listen to them in order, we talked to Nick, and we were talking about.
And Nick, we tried contacting you before this.
Yeah, we did.
Nick.
You didn't answer your phone.
You did not answer.
Yeah, you're probably with Bob right now.
I did one text.
Yeah. So the last time we potted, it was Bob Iger was stepping down and Bob Chapek was stepping up. And I quickly said that it's because of the coronavirus and that, Bob saw the writing on the wall and he's like, I'm getting the F out while I can. I already spent companies all its money. We have no resources left. This is going to hit America. This is going to be bad. And he jumped ship and he wanted a new face for the company. So that way his name wasn't tainting the company. Well, then guess what happens? I don't know. Like, there's rumors that Bob Chapek is doing all right. He's, whipping people into shape at Lucasfilm and he's changing things up and he's going to make it fresh and new. Supposedly. And then all of a sudden, boom! Bob is back. You gonna sing your song, Joel? You gonna sing your song? Do you remember what it was?
Why do you put me on the spot like that? Could you let me do it?
Just do it then. I want to hear it.
So I want to know why Bob can just take power back. Like, all of a sudden, he can just take his power back?
He never left. So Who's got the power? Come on, Joel, sing it. Sing it, Joel.
Who's got the power? Wait. No, I can't do it! You ruined it! Go on.
Who's got the power? Bob's got the power.
No,
Bob
you
who?
no no
Bob who?
stop.
I'm messing it up. You got to. This is what happens when you don't do it.
Who
Okay, go.
Who you talking about?
Bob
with the power. What power? Power of voodoo. Who do you do? That's not the word. Which Bob you talking about? What Bob you talking about?
What Bob? That's the whole point. What the hell is going on? All right. Well,
what Bob are
you
talking about? What Bob? The Bob with the power. Right. What power? Power of voodoo. Who do you do? Power of Bob. Better?
Bob. Yeah, that's it.
Labyrinth?
Thank you. Good job. Bravo, Labyrinth. I hate it. Bravo.
But guess who's back? Here's my other song. But guess who's back? Bob is back.
Bob is back. Bob's back.
But so he can just take his power back at a whim?
He never left it. I said that. He never left it.
Live texting from Nick. Right, meow? Do
Wait,
I respond to Nick on this?
Yeah, well, tell him it's too late. What's he asking for?
No, keep going. How come Bob can take his power back? I'll take care of Nick.
All right. So anyways, he never left his power. And I said that. He was just getting a scapegoat to cover all the fuck-ups he did. But I guess now when the stocks are crashing as much as they are, and your company, if your retirement and your ideas for running for president someday are all financially backed by the stock market and all the stock you own in Disney, and then the Disney company and corporation as a whole crashes, you want to take a personal invested interest in saving it, So, the only thing I can think of is he came back for that reason. Like, oh, no, I got to come back. Who knows? Maybe he missed the power. Maybe he was worried that he wasn't going to get the stimulus check from Trump. I don't know. It's it's like
it's $1,200.
Yeah, you never know, right? He's got dependents, I'm sure. They might be too old for it, but you never know. At least the ones we know about. Oh, just kidding. I'm joking. That's a joke. Anyways, the sad part is a lot of Disney employees right now are furloughed, laid off. People across the board are taking massive pay cuts. So my thing is,
Bob's going back with no pay then, because he already said he's not taking money.
Yeah. Well, at this point in time, though, like I said, if
nobody's getting money, if
the majority of your retirement is locked up in the stock market, especially with the company that you work for, you don't want to see that fail. You're going to do everything in your power to get it back. My thing is, I actually don't want Disney to fail at all. I've never wanted that to happen. I personally, on a personal level, I like the traditions of the parks that they run. Most of their products have been okay. Disney Plus, ironically, as crappy as it is probably helping or saving it. It's probably a good thing that came out when it did. Maybe that's why he rushed it.
Hasn't that crazy? No,
maybe that's why he rushed it, because he saw China. Maybe that's why he rushed it. I don't know. But having said all that, why did he come back?
Why?
You know why?
What's he going to do?
I don't know.
What's he really going to do in this kind of crisis right now? What can he do?
That's what I'm wondering.
No one's seen the press. Is he going to come in and go, everyone's going to get paid now? Yay. No.
Well, I just wonder. Well, we said that Chapek was the scapegoat.
But now
if Iger's back.
If Iger's back and it collapses
maybe the stock bumps back up. Like, oh, thank God, someone we know and trust is back. Do you think that something as simple as that? The stocks go up because Bobby Iger's back? Bobby won?
It didn't go up.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's been going up and down, but it didn't go up. You're right. So what do you think? What does Nick have to say about it? Did you text him?
It's been at $100 about this entire time since it dropped from 150.
Mm-hmm.
And it hasn't come back at all.
Yeah. Well, and it's not going to until the parks reopen.
They're losing each park. They're losing $30 million a day.
It's going to be tough. And they also took out. That's the other thing too we didn't talk about is they took out another loan. Hold on. So they had to take out another loan.
Yeah, you hear that?
This is what happens when you're under quarantine. That's okay. I'm drinking my
mango White Claw hard seltzer. You know what this tastes like? It tastes like those sparkling waters that everyone likes. Those like the liqueurs no one buys now because it's quarantine. But it's like that flavor where it's like, It says it has mango, but it tastes like a truck that drove by a mango field just like 5 miles away. So it just got a whiff of it.
I'm drinking Fireball whiskey. It tastes like someone dropped a Fireball candy in a glass of whiskey. That's what it tastes like. So,
what do I think?
All right. Yeah. What do you think? I
honestly don't know.
I mean, he's still out at 21. Is it 21 or 22? When does his contract end? When is he officially done with the company?
22? 21. No, yeah, 20. I think 22 because I think 21 he was going to spend the rest of the next year. Well, you got more mad at Bob Iger than I did. I mean, I'm so confused of why he's coming back and what he thinks he's going to do in this time of need. Maybe he is for stocks. Maybe it is for that.
I mean, I just
maybe
feel like
he's just
he
bored.
never...
Maybe he's just bored at home.
Yeah, he can't stand the wife.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
maybe.
But the thing is, it's tough because he never left, and we knew that he never left. He was whispering in Chapek's ear, but for a little while, I remember I said, like, we'll know if Chapek actually has power if, let's say, Lucasfilm changes the way they're doing business. And there's rumors that they're changing the way they're doing business, but that's just all it is rumor, Bill. Nothing has been confirmed or anything like that. So the only thing I can think of is, like, they want maybe the company, Disney as a whole, they're worried that their reputation's at stake. So they want Chapek came in really late into the game, meaning, like, you know, Bob leaves and then the world ends and Chapek's there to pick up the pieces. And when you look at that from a political standpoint, it doesn't look too good. It's like people are like, well, who is this Chapek? Yeah, I know he did this and I know he did that, but is he an Iger? I mean, is he as good as an Iger? Look at the times we're living in. My God, man, can Chapek do this? You know, and then it's like, oh,
like, why couldn't he do
we'll bring
this?
Iger
Like,
back.
Why couldn't?
I'm not saying he couldn't. I'm just saying, like, I mean, but he was always that face. I told you, he's like, get rid of the Kathleen Kennedy name, get rid of the Iger name, and then that way, like, you know, the the healing process can begin because of all the bullshit that's been going on the last couple of years in the entertainment industry. Because, you know, of course, it's going to be like coronavirus now is going to play an intricate part of the destruction of entertainment. But back then, entertainment was destroying entertainment with their bullshit philosophies and their agendas that they were constantly pushing. So they were already on a downward spiral. The coronavirus just put the nail in the fucking coffin.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
So Matt, let me do something we've never done before on this show before. We're gonna patch in Nick right now.
All right.
And we just live added in a guest speaker. He wanted to chime in. He heard us talking about this, and he was the last speaker on the last pod. It's Nick.
Hello.
Nick is back.
Hey,
Nick, how are you?
I'm doing as best as I can.
So
I can't hear
we
you.
were just talking about how Bob is back, and we don't know which Bob. Bob with the power. What power? Power of voodoo, hoodoo, you do. I did it, Matt.
Yes, you did. You did great. And we wanted to talk about it before the other Bob comes back and takes Bob's back and comes back to Bob being Bob.
So we're confused. Like, the question Matt just proposed to me is, why do you think Iger came back? Like, what was the whole meaning behind it, other than maybe
because he never really left,
yeah,
right?
like, he just took his power back.
Yeah, so I would want to clarify that one big thing is that he didn't come back to assume the role of CEO. Chapek is obviously still CEO. Bob is, I think, coming back on to assist Chapek during this crazy time. There's been,
but wasn't he already kind of doing that? You know what I mean?
No, so that was the whole reason, and this is what we talked about last time too, right? So he left because he, as CEO, there's a lot of other things you're doing in the company as far as like running the actual company, and if right. Iger wanted to kind of be one foot out the door anyway, but still be involved in the creative decisions in the company that he's, you know, loving to do, he can't be the CEO and do that. So by elevating himself to a level of chairman, he can sort of like focus on those things and make those decisions without having to like run the company essentially. So Chapek's running the company like on a daily basis, and then he's doing all. But
he's had to give that up. He's had to give up his dream of being creative to go back to nickeling and diming. And
well, so he's got to do something with his time.
What was the need? You know what I mean? Like, what was the need to go back to help Chapek? Because like Chapek is, we've mentioned before, he's like a penny pincher. He knows how to cut corners and costs. I mean, you can't cut anymore. Everyone's on furlough right now.
Think about this is like Bob Chapek's dream. He can cut everything now.
Yeah, but
well, everything is cut.
Yeah, but put yourself in his shoes, though, right? So you just become.
Which one? You got to clarify. We got
Sorry,
two Bobs here.
Chapek. Yes, thank you. Yeah, our three Bobs and three Allens we got in the stupid company. So like,
right,
you put yourself in his shoes, right? So he just became CEO of a company, and he is all of a sudden thrust into this crisis where, you know, like
I literally just said that, Nick, before you called. I was like, this poor bastard just got this shit pie.
Yeah.
Okay, keep
and
going.
I don't think obviously this was like foreseen, but
right.
I don't know.
Some of this was like some of this, you know, COVID stuff was happening when Bob walked out, Iger, but when he walked out,
yeah, China. He knew this was going on in China.
Curtis
he knew.
thinks that Matt thinks that freaking Disney Plus was rushed because they saw the writing on the wall, like we're gonna be quarantined soon. We got to get this out. Don't you, Matt?
Well, why do you think that? What's your?
I suggested it because remember when you got mad at me about it too? I don't know if it was in the podcast or if it was like in a private chat. But we were talking about how like I thought. Remember we were talking about the quarterlies and like JPEG, not JPEG. Sorry, Iger seemed shaken. You know, like about his, about Disney Plus coming out in a rush kind of thing right before his shareholders meeting. But if he was, being informed about what's going on with China, and he thought, okay, you know what? Maybe it's not up and running. Maybe it's not perfect, but we got to get it out there. We got to get that $6 from everybody a month because maybe he knew that would be the only thing that could save the company or keep it afloat long enough if shit hit the fan bad enough it went from bad to worse. Do you think that's a possibility? Because if it was, I will give him credit and think that's a really fucking smart thing.
So far in advance. When did Disney Plus come out? In November?
It wasn't that long ago.
But I know it wasn't that long ago. I think it was November or October because I think we got it when we were in Louisville. I can base it off what city we were in at the time. I think it was Louisville.
I think
October.
I think that I don't know. I think it was farther back than we think, but I don't know. Again, I don't think he. I don't know if. I don't know. I don't know if he actually like knew that ahead of time, to like push it all. I mean, I do think that Disney Plus was probably rushed a little bit because they wanted to get it out there because of all the other streaming platforms and
they want to rush everything now.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it was just one of those things.
But I felt like this was really rushed. You know what I mean? And like it could be that he actually saw was looking ahead and saw that this could potentially be a problem.
There's no way he would have known it was gonna be a quarantine. We're all gonna be shut down.
No. But I mean. Most people like plan ahead, right? Like sure. For example, I always keep 2 things of toothpaste in my cabinet. So when one's empty, I can go get another one. You know what I'm saying?
About toilet paper, but okay.
No, from now on, I've learned my lesson. I'm gonna just constantly buy paper products as a whole, just to be safe. It doesn't matter, sandpaper, whatever. I'm gonna play it safe from here on out. I just wonder if
I think that Disney Plus. There's still a lot of stuff to be done on the creative side, even though a lot of things are stopping the company. Which, by the way, Disney Plus came out November 12th, 2019.
Okay, there you go.
I think Louisville.
Yeah, so I think that the world doesn't stop at Disney. A lot of it slows down, but there's things that still have to get done, and I guess you can,
of course,
you can consider that essential or not. I don't know. I mean, the company's still got to run somehow, but I think that him coming on board to help Chapek out, I think is not necessarily like because Chapek, you don't need help to close things. I think it's it's all the planning they're doing to ramp back up. Coming from someone who's very close. Yeah, coming from someone who's really close to the operation side, let's just say, I know that they are planning like at least 3 weeks to a month or more to like ramp back up into operation. So I think he's coming on to really help with that transition. And the Asian parks are going to open first for sure. Like Shanghai and Hong Kong are going to come up first.
That'll be their test subjects. That'll be their test subjects.
They don't give a shit in Asia anyways because I mean they claimed everything was fine. It's still not the case. So of course they're going to open.
But here's the best part with that though. So if they open up Hong Kong and Shanghai first, right, that gives them the opportunity to implement these new safety procedures and see how it works with people. So that when they open up the U.S. parks, which is, let's be honest, the group of people that are going to complain the most, they'll somewhat have it fine tuned. But if we're also being and if we're also thinking about it though, Americans we're really bitchy. So no matter how you look at it,
we are.
The people in Asia, they're going to fall in line a lot better than we do. But at the same time, it's like they can test all those theories and stuff out there and then kind of get that going, like with the temperature checks and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Okay. So I got to stop you there because this is. I talked to Joel about this privately. This is like we're getting off subject, but I love this. This is why we banter. I find it so stupid that they're actually considering doing temperature checks because one, you can have a temperature. Yeah, I know it's so fucking dumb though because you can have a temperature for any amount of reasons whatsoever, and then that doesn't include the asymptomatic people. there's going to be asymptomatic people, which means they have the virus and they're going to be coughing and sneezing all over the goddamn place, but their temperature is perfectly fine. So to me, I feel like that's so dumb.
Or they're not going to be coughing and sneezing. That's the thing. That's the whole point. They could have zero symptoms of anything and be
right. So to me, that's pointless. So to do the temperature thing, in my opinion, is pointless. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Oh, what's even funnier is that some countries are doing immunity cards. So I think there's I forgot what country it is, but if you already had COVID-19 and you survived it and now you're healthy, they give you a card saying you can move out the country freely because now you don't need to be quarantined because you already got it.
Yep.
But that's going to encourage other people to infect me so I can get it. So then they're going to see a high rate. So you know what I mean?
Oh, it's gonna be stupid. It's gonna be straight up stupid. Yeah. For the next year and a half, it's gonna be rough until they get an actual virus or antibodies in play. When I say virus, I meant like a vaccine. Vaccine. There's no way that
it'll be an Israeli who does it.
But I don't think that I don't think that temperature checks are meant to completely prevent everyone who potentially has it from coming to the parks. I think it's just another line of defense because they've been doing this in airports for years all over the world, and you don't have to stop and do anything. You just walk in like you normally would. There's just cameras that point at you with people behind a desk, and the second your head is glowing red, then they basically say you come over here, and that's it. I mean, there's no slowdown of the process if that's the route they take. There's no slowdown of the process.
It still doesn't matter though, right? Because if you're asymptomatic, you're
gonna get. But is it better to get some people?
I mean, does that mean one person's gonna ride in a ride? You know what I mean? Like you're gonna have to.
It. Like if you're asymptomatic, like
Matterhorn, Matterhorn, you're gonna have one person in the front. Or one person in the back and the seat in the middle empty, or only one person on the Matterhorn ride at all.
Yeah, but you could get it from somebody just standing in line to get in the park. It has nothing to do with the rides. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's kind of
you could have gone
you either open the park and you get sick or you don't. You know what I mean? Like come at your own risk.
But I think it's more. I think it's more of it's something. You know what I mean? It's not meant to completely prevent everybody.
It's a false security.
What's happening is it's just like TSA. It's security theatrics. But what they're trying to do is, I think they're going to slow it down right now, and then once the hospitals are ready for a surge of people in a sense, are ready for it. You know what I mean? They can now whittle out people and go like, "You're sick, you got to come with me. You got to sick." They're not going to slow the spread. It'll probably go up for a little bit again until we have a vaccine. But at least they can stop the overpopulation in hospitals, even though right now a lot of hospitals are pretty empty, according to some people.
I'm curious.
Well, here's the reality. It's tough because the economy needs to start back up and running. I definitely agree with that. You can't live off of nothing forever.
Well, how often they're paying me, unemployment is paying me weekly right now. How
I guarantee you all those other side programs, all the funding is going into that. You know what I mean? Like all those things where, like everyone should get clown noses, like all these fucking liberal things. Like I guarantee you they're all putting the brakes on those programs and they're just sending all of that extra cash,
the small
border wall money,
loan,
you know what I mean? All that stuff is
all the government money that went to small business loans and all that to help small businesses out during this time. They're already bankrupt. They're already done. They're empty. They're out of money.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So it can't last forever.
No.
But it's
if
just
they don't file everybody, it took me forever to file. So as long as they don't file everybody.
Well, but this is also why that Trump has been chomping at the bit to quote,
of course,
quote, reopen the country, earlier than people are trying to say, which I was just talking.
But here's the
about.
Problem, though. Like California, let's just take California. An article today, and we might be relevant now because we're going to post this pod. But it was like 85. I think. It was either 80 or 85%. He'll figure it out. 80 or 85% of California was not. They were underestimating it by 80 or 85% on how many people in California have the virus. So what I'm saying is like this is not going. They already canceled Comic-Con.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
Yes, they did.
When?
Yes, they did.
Holy shit!
They canceled it.
When they canceled it?
I
looked at it like yesterday or 2 days ago.
It was today or yesterday, I think.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
So I mean, the point I'm making is. People are, they're saying we've hit our plateau. It's not true. It's just everyone's fucking got it, and just not everyone's being tested.
This is Walking Dead. It's everybody. Everybody has this virus, and it's just a matter until they die, and then there you go. So it's like everything. Everyone I think already has this. And
I think what needs to happen is
10
if people want to.
Ago it was posted.
Yeah. So if people want to open up things like, let's say, Disneyland. It's like come at your own risk. You don't need your butt thermometer scans. You don't need all this other stuff.
Just until fucking July. There's no way Disneyland's open up.
It will go quick. Joel. It's not just that though. The reality is it doesn't matter if it's in July or not. The problem is you're gonna have people from all over the country, like where I'm at in New England right now. We're so behind from New York because everybody at this point in time, like the hot spots, LA, Washington State, New York, they got it. And then all those buttholes that have properties elsewhere in the country decided, oh, it's getting too busy here, too crazy. So we're going to go to our private cabins in bumfuck and Eastville and fuck you. And all of a sudden, like, they get that town sick. But the problem is that town is like laughing and coughing and eating this shit up for a month without even knowing it because these assholes come to those areas. And then so they're a month behind everybody else. So by the time, and I don't think LA, for example, is going to be ready anytime soon. They're claiming they're hitting their curve or their downhill slide, but the reality is, because of lack of testing, I don't think that's really the case. I think what
someone released.
But my point is, everybody else in the middle of the country is going to be fucking like a month or two behind what New York and LA and Washington are now.
According to our other listener, he said that South Dakota has not shut down at all. They have no stay-at-home orders there. South Dakota is one of the
there's a lot of states that haven't implemented that. I mean, there's a lot. Yeah. As far as I know, I think I just heard this today actually, so I wish I remembered the number. But there was a handful of states that never enacted those stay-at-home orders, and whatever those reasons are is fine. But the thing is, though,
it just drags the goddamn thing out.
But here's the thing:
it means one plane ends, another one starts.
It's going to be a long time before this thing is completely over. That's not what people are waiting for. They're waiting for it to get. It's just like the cold, right? Like or the flu. Like everyone's going to end up getting it like in spurts here and there. They know that. But I think what they're trying to do is make it so that everybody's not getting down with this thing all at once. So they let it kind of clear out a little bit, so people can kind of slowly start resuming their life.
Well, the hardest
it doesn't
part
overwhelm the hospitals. That's what they're trying to prevent.
Right. And all of this is true, and all of that will work. It's not going to go away. But you're right. They're just going to have hot spots here or there. The problem that sucks on when you bring it down to a personal level is, like, let's say I'm asymptomatic, which I don't even know because I've never been tested, but I've been pretty much stuck in my house for a fucking month and a half, 2 months.
Even if you wanted to.
Right.
Unless you're a celebrity. Point I'm making is,
it's
a good time to find out if you're a celebrity.
But if I go to Disneyland and let's say I'm asymptomatic, meaning, and maybe I even caught it and recovered, I don't even fucking know. Right. Like I go to Disneyland.
Right.
Now I feel bad because I killed Grandpa. Someone's Grandpa because I rode a ride. You know what I mean? So it's almost like damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because even if I'm okay, it's selfish of me to still go to Disneyland.
But there's going to be a possibly get somebody else of signs at your own. As soon as Disneyland opens, it's going to be a ton of signs saying at your own risk this is what could happen. But the chain reaction. I mean, fun little gifs of like little memes up there showing like, oh, you come in and you're asymmetric and you get this person's sick, it could get Grandpa sick, and Grandpa could die, and then his death, because the dead bodies can also spread the disease still, apparently.
But this is the problem, though, is like what Matt said, except the difference is you have the people who are doing exactly what Matt said, but are not feeling bad about it. They're just saying, I'm not sick, I'm just going to go out. And then they go and they stand next to a 75-year-old who has a weakened immune system, and then end up giving it to him. And the difference is that Matt has a conscience, but here's the thing: you feel bad that you get that person sick, but if you felt that way, you wouldn't have gone there in the first place. So,
exactly.
So it's kind of like.
But that's what I'm saying is like then I'm as a me personally like that basically told now I got to stay in my house forever because you know what I mean, because the way this world is until everyone gets on the same goddamn
that's what
page,
it feels like.
It's just not going to go away.
But that's the thing is that's what it feels like if you're like, well, if we have to wait for everybody to stop showing symptoms or people stop getting sick, it's going to be years before that's done, So really we're just getting to the point where we can actually start assimilating back into society the way we were with people catching it here and there. But I think it's kind of like with any other sickness, right? It blows up amongst communities, gets really bad. And even people who didn't get sick, they don't get sick. And it just kind of goes away for a little bit and then it comes back again. We don't really know how this thing will behave long term, as far as I've read. So I think it's just, and I think that is, so this is a great circle back to the original topic here. I think that I got brought in for is I think that's one of the big reasons why Iger is coming back, because they're looking like, okay, let's look at the trends. Let's see when would be an opportune time to open parks back up with this still being a problem in the world without bad PR, because that's the other problem, right? Of
course.
These parks, it doesn't matter if you're Disney or Universal or whatever, if you open up these parks, the first person to get sick again because they went to a Disney park, and even worse if they died, it's super hard to deal with that. But at some point you do have to reopen the doors. Like it just has to happen and people have to accept that. But you're not going to have a lot of people that do.
And there's going to be a lot of people who won't go. They're going to have low attendance too for a while. And certain things may not open. Like even if they open the park up, They may not even open up shows. Like certain shows won't happen.
I actually completely disagree with that. So I think that we're going to actually be busier than we've ever been when we reopen our parks.
You mean they are going to be busier than they ever been?
Yeah, I think that...
No, you're probably right on that just because everyone's so excited to go to a park again and get out of the house.
But that's
it's going to come in a wave, though. This is exactly what's going to happen. I'm predicting it now, all right? So it's Disney's going to say, we're going to open up on this date. Everyone's going to be like, Yahoo, Disney's back open. And then everyone and their mother and sister and aunt and uncle and everyone's going to come to the parks. It's going to be busy for a good 2 to 3 weeks. Shows are going to be up. Record attendance, and then it's going to decline, and then it's going to come back in. It's going to slowly come back into its normal operating revenue range. That's exactly what's going to happen. It's just the excitement of a new toy being presented again, you know?
Well, I mean, it's common sense. You know, every time they open up like a new popcorn bucket in fucking Disneyland, like people are rushing over to get it. So the thing is, though, like my thing is, though, I agree with you. They're going to rush in, and the problem I'm seeing is, then like something happens where people get sick, you get that bad PR that they don't want, and no fault of their own, it's just going to happen. And then I feel like then it's going to be like everyone's going to pump the brakes, and then Disney's going to have to reevaluate again. They might even have to stop again and reevaluate, and by then I think it's going to be too damaging. You know what I mean?
If they open and they have to close again, that's not going to be.
But I wonder if the public's going to even care at this point. I think everyone's over it. You know what I mean? I think everyone's just going to be like, oh, great, people are getting sick again. You know what? I'm over it. I was stuck at home for 2 months. I'm just going to, if I get sick, I get sick. I'm going to live my life.
And those are the people, and those are the same fucking people that will not say they got bit by the zombie.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I didn't get bit. What are you talking about? I'm not bit.
Well, the thing about really that situation is I'm there now. I mean, like where I'm at, there's festivals that happen all the time, and I don't want them to happen right now because it's going to be all these goddamn out-of-staters that are going to come and cough over my fucking grocery stores.
Are they not? Are they not canceling the lobster festival?
Not yet.
If they don't, so, Matt, can I come?
No, fuck, whatever, sure, whatever. Yeah. But my point is, like, you know, if I want to go and say, like, you know, if you're canceling Comic-Con, you should be canceling these other events. Like, because my thing is, I did my job. I fucking stayed home for 2 months, and like, I think I went out maybe 2 times. You know, every 2 to 3 weeks, I would go get groceries, and that's it. And my poor wife, hasn't left the house for over 2 months, and so like, to have some fucking assholes from out of state come in and cough over goddamn everything and then leave, because where I'm at, it's not sunny California right now. It's like you got maybe 3 months of sort of decent weather, and then you're stuck with goddamn snow and ice for like 9 months. I love that. You know what I mean? Like,
Ew,
so
you do, man.
I only have 3 months. I only have 3 months. You know, and so like these assholes come for the good times in the month and cough over everything. I can't go outside, and then I'm stuck inside all winter. So
yeah, where you would have normally had the opportunity to go places if you needed to. I would have now you're going to be forced to be home.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and because my theory is we're, like I said, a month or 2 behind everybody else because all the out-of-staters came here. You know, like JJ just got to his house maybe a week ago, so you know I'm sure he's coughing all over my goddamn grocery store too.
JJ Abrams, that's Jar Jar Abrams.
Yes.
Everybody.
Yeah. So
my head carpenter was just talking about how our show, if it picks up again, it's a possibility we will start in June, and we'll go to our touring was supposed to go to Tempe, Arizona, and then we're going to go to San Jose, San Diego, and then Costa Mesa. But it's almost sounding like we're going to hit Tempe, Arizona, and then we're not going to go to California at all anymore, and we're going to hit all the other states again that we were supposed to before. Like, we're going to go to Denver because that was canceled right before Tempe, and then we're going to go to Nebraska.
Is that allowed to be talked about now? I want to make sure.
Oh, I have no idea. This is speculation. I don't know. I'm not telling you what has been. I was just not supposed to talk about.
You haven't been very specific on what show, but
right, and I wasn't supposed to mention.
There's just a show in the United States that's going to go to these locations, and you got to figure out.
It's gearing back up, and no, I don't. I was only not supposed to talk when we closed the show down. We don't know.
Yeah.
They haven't officially told us anything. These are not official things for my show, but all I know is that there's only 4 national tours that are going to pick back up. No other tour is going to go on the road again for a good long time.
Well, yeah, so because again, you got to pack the house. You can't pack a house if you can't pack a house.
Right. So it's going to be Hamilton's going to gear back up. Wicked, Lion King, and there's one more. Oh, Dear Evan Hansen. Frozen is not even geared to go back up again.
All the moneymakers, basically.
Right. Frozen, they just opened on the tour, is not going to go back up again.
Joel,
right away.
let's be real here. It's fucking Frozen. No one gives a shit about Frozen.
No, they're probably going to close it and be done with it.
Yeah.
And we're done.
I mean, all those little fucking girls are already in high school having sex. Right. They don't care about
Did you watch the second movie, Matt?
Snow people. I did, thanks to Disney Plus.
Into the unknown.
You know what sucks, Nick? My son liked it. So now I got to watch it a lot because of him.
like the
God
first
damn
one?
it. You know, like. I bought the first one for obvious reasons, you know, like before we got beat to death with it, but yeah, yes, I obviously have the first one.
I think the second one could have been its own movie.
I think the last time I watched it was in California, to be honest with you.
I remember the time when movies like that came out for Disney straight to DVD. Or VHS.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Like it was under the what was it?
This was Aladdin: Return of Jafar. Come on.
Ugh.
You know what's sad? That movie's better than fucking Frozen. You know, I
Frozen
watch that
or Frozen
over Frozen
2.
any day of the week.
Well, they didn't get Robin Williams to do that voice. We should talk about that one another day. That should be a topic.
Nick, if you can get up the food chain and you can tell those assholes to stop like nickel and diming Disney Plus, just I'd rather have 4 fucking like menus and then have like 1,000 spread out bullshit menus. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, they mentioned Star Wars in this Marvel episode, so it's part of Star Wars now. Like, no, just fucking. Just keep it simplistic, okay? Like, you got Disney short. They're doing all the Disney shorts as individual movies. Like, no, it's called Disney Classic Goddamn Cartoons. You click on that, and then you got a list of 600 cartoons.
Yeah.
I don't need.
Yeah. How come I don't have those on
like,
Disney Plus? What the hell, Nick? Nick, go fix that.
You know,
Nick,
I haven't actually
get on this shit.
Yeah.
Stop doing your goddamn Marvel stuff or whatever the fuck you're doing, and just go talk to them about this other stuff.
You know what? I'll call Iger tonight and I'll talk to him about it. I'll talk to him about our
Please
conversation
do.
and be like, "Hey, bro."
Jesus, when you're painting his goddamn portrait with a leaf on his balls, can you just tell him like, just fucking fix Disney Plus so that it's easy to navigate?
You guys know that God, that the Da Vinci painting where the God is reaching for Zeus and he's reaching up and down like the apple, or whatever. That's both Bob's, right? That's both Bob. That's Chip Peck and Iger.
Yeah, probably.
Wait. So Nick, let's go.
I want to clarify something real quick for some of our.
Right.
Actually, for me, my personal. I've been telling people you're the voice in Star Wars Land, the voiceover. What do you say for what's your announcement?
Yeah, can you do it for us right now?
No, but like what is the announcement? Because you're not the fireworks guy. You're not that guy.
I am the fireworks guy for there.
He said he's the
Star
fireworks
Wars.
guy.
In
Yeah.
Star Wars Land.
In
Yep.
Star Wars Land only.
Yes. So in Galaxy's Edge, when the fireworks are supposed to take effect, Nick's voice comes on. Yes.
Yeah, so I did 30 announcements, and
30.
About 30 of them, and most of those are ones you'll never hear ever for your entire life. Just like
Are they like emergencies?
Yeah.
COVID-19 has broken out in the park. Oh no, you did one for a zombie virus, didn't you?
No, so
There's a zombie pandemic. Get the fuck out.
Bill Rogers, who is the normal voice of Disneyland, he still does the emergency spiels. Those will get routed out to Galaxy's Edge, but all of the operational type announcements, like the park closing, so like the one every night that plays, is pretty much the only one you hear most of the time. It plays exactly at midnight. It says that the outpost is closing, get the hell out. And then there's a bunch of like weather related ones. We're closing early for weather. We'll never play those. And then there's the fireworks pre-show, but they're very generic. It's very much like there's a firework. There'll be a fireworks celebration, and it will bring loud noise and
And that's your voice. Why didn't they get the other guy to do it?
Because they wanted to have
Nick was cheaper.
Probably.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they got that guy in retainer. I'm just paid by the hour.
They actually got that guy by the balls. That's what
I
I
got a pretty decent deal on it actually, but we won't go over specifics. But basically, they wanted to have a different voice than Bill, so that you wouldn't like feel like you're in Disneyland. And even if Bill like played a voice, you still know it's Bill. I mean, he's got that like warmth to him. So they wanted someone completely different. And
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and I think that I just happened to be in the right place at the right time, and happened to be having a conversation with like the right person. And
they liked your voice.
I auditioned for it technically. Yeah.
Wow,
that's great though.
So do you get?
I still think it's hilarious.
Do you get residuals for it then, or
no? I wish. Gosh.
Oh, okay.
Are you kidding me? Every day? God damn, Joel. Seriously?
It's like every day, but like he signed a contract saying you only get 10 cents for every time they play it. But that adds up. You know what I mean?
I mean,
like,
of course, a penny would add up.
I am the de facto like go to. So if they have like a certain type of special event, then technically they would have me be used first. But like New Year's, for example, they decided last second they weren't going to have like a host. So then they were like, oh crap, we need to have these announcements made. And so they came running over to me and said, are you like going on vacation, or are you going to be in town? And I said, I'm like, no, I'll be here, because the studio is right around the corner. And,
nice.
And then they, last second after that, changed their mind and decided to actually use a host. And then they end up,
but they still paid you, right?
No, because I didn't actually record them.
Okay.
They did end up using. I think they did end up actually having some dude do a voice, but it was like a very, very like cartoony voice. It was like, "Hey, everybody, it's New Year's," and it's like that's not what I did. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So Nick, getting back to Bob here, you brought up a great point that they brought in Iger in to start planning the process for opening back up. So that makes sense to me. I can see that
That's
happening.
what I think his main purpose is, coming back.
The cynic in me is just like it goes back to what you were saying, which is like, Chapek got in at a really bad time, and it doesn't look good for the company as a face of a company. Like, this new rookie is in charge, even though he's been around forever.
Yeah,
we got a rookie in charge of this during chaos. So Bob's got to come back and save the day.
But it looks good that Iger's coming back to like help him out.
Well,
it's
frankly,
not like I'm trying to save the day. It's more like I'm coming in to give you a helping hand.
Well, frankly, the board probably also had a big influence on it. I'm sure the board was like, listen, we know that Bob's a CEO, but he's a new CEO. We want this to look good, and we're afraid that there's going to be a lot of doubt on Chapek's part.
Exactly.
And so it's just better if we just even if
there was a lot of doubt when he took it without this.
Even if Iger doesn't do anything,
it's hard to fire people when you don't have people to fire.
I think that even if Iger doesn't actually help at all, it's just the image of like two CEOs helping each other out, bring something a huge company back from the crisis. Just looks better,
It's the Bob.
So, sure, it's all PR based. Yeah. Absolutely,
absolutely, Bob squared.
Or really, it's
so
Bob
Nick,
cubed.
I know you don't work. I know you don't work for the Walt Disney Company. So let me ask you this: what are you doing right now?
Well, the company I work for.
Are you involved in anything?
The company that I work for that is very similar to the Walt Disney Company. I have been furloughed from my role at that company.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Starting tomorrow night at 11:59 p.m.
Sorry, Nick.
It's all good.
Sorry to hear that.
I'll survive. It's not that big a deal.
Unemployment's not that bad. Unemployment's not that bad. You get an extra $600. I actually make more now than when I worked for the Walt Disney Company.
Before taxes,
are you saying that I could?
Yeah.
Before I could come back.
It's true, but
is it a good time to come back, Nick? After this,
but $600 is not taxed on it, so at least it's not bad.
Yeah. So honestly, though, because I don't work for the company, but I'm going to have opinion as if I did.
I'm New York unemployment though, so I get more.
Joel, shut up! Don't care about employment. Letting it talk.
This is where I'm going to swing for the company. They have done an extremely good job of taking care of their employees. But here's the thing, I want to put this out there too. There's no rule book for this kind of shit. So everybody who's like, oh, there's been no communication, and this is they're handling this so. Listen, every company is dealing with this right now, and there's no rule book on how to deal with this. The fact that people are being furloughed and not laid off, shut your mouth and take it. You know what I mean? Because that means you potentially there's no guarantee. God. You potentially have a job when you come back. And there was a lot of people. There was a lot of former techs that we know that were on salaried assignments that ended up getting pulled back to blacks. And out of their will, they didn't have a choice in it. And frankly, those are probably the people that are more safe than people who may be on temporary to salaried assignments that didn't go back to blacks. Because if this gets really bad and they actually lay off people, those techs would be safe. But my point is that the company's actually been really working hard.
They have been. There's actually so when they laid off the national tours and all that, and Broadway shut down. Of course, Disneyland set the lead on that when they said we're closing the doors, and theatricals is like we're not doing the tours anymore. That's when all the other tours were like, I think we're going to do it too. So Disney already set the standard on that, but Disney announced right away everyone on a Disney tour will be getting paid for the next 2 weeks, also on Broadway. So everyone was going to get paid for 2 weeks regardless when the tour stopped, right? Every other tour was like, because I have a lot of friends on tour, on a bunch of different tours, like Les Mis and, Beautiful and just a few others. And they were told, or even Hamilton, and they weren't told nothing. They were just told, you need to go home. You're not going to get paid. But they actually eventually got paid an extra 2 weeks out because of what Disney did. So everyone across the board on pink contracts, which is the contract you do with touring, and at New York, all got paid for an extra 2 weeks because of that. So Disney has definitely stepped up and showed what it should possibly. I mean, everybody wants them to do more, and no matter what they do, they always want more. And when this all came down, if you go on to Disney's the IATSE's union website for Disney, or for Facebook group, they're all up in an uproar like, oh, well, they didn't. How come they didn't do that? And blah, blah, blah. And old ex-employees are trying to get information. Like, how are ex-employees giving more information on what's going on when you're an employee? I'm so confused of what's going on. So...
Yeah.
And like they're all like, oh, managers aren't talking to us. It was like, well, because managers don't know what's going on.
Exactly. So
my company
biggest...
managers was emailing me unemployment stuff because they're like, we don't know what's going on. We just want you to be ready. And then it's like they're like, well, we're not even getting that. It's like, well, they don't know what you guys need.
Yeah,
they're trying to save your job, while my company, our theatrical side, is just saying we're done right now. We're unsure what's going to happen the next step.
Yeah, there's no secrets. There's no like people trying to keep information from people. It's just that, like I said,
that's what they think.
Like I said, there's no rule book for this. So when information gets finally dispersed, it's like this is why all the cast members found out about the closure when it hit the news media, because that's literally when everyone else in the parks found out about it.
Yeah.
So
of course,
so it's just one of those things where
I'm sure David Miller found out then too.
He did, and not that I've been in meetings with David Miller, but like, you know, if I were in meetings with David Miller, there are many times that he comes in, he's like, well, I have no new information for you guys because, well, I don't get told anything until it ends up in the papers also. And it's just because that's just how we have to disperse the information. And it's all new. And it's like they release something and then there's a bunch of questions. And of course they don't have answers yet. But here's the thing. So from people I know who work at Disney, they have, they have, this really nice like reference website to go to for all the furlough information, and it has pretty much anything that you could possibly have asked or anything you need to know at this point regarding the furloughs and like unemployment all that kind of stuff. And that's more than a lot of companies are doing, to tell you the truth. So I'm not complaining about it.
Some companies are firing people.
Yeah,
people are just laying them off.
Of course. Well, because they can't afford it.
Circulate off 95% or something of their employees.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Disney.
Yeah, no, Cirque fired everybody on Vegas.
Yeah. Nobody wants Disney to fail, right? So nobody wants Disney to fail. Even if, as much as I hated their politics and their bullshit and what they've done with things like franchise like Star Wars, and they're pushing it into Marvel, whatever,
Apple's
blah, blah, blah,
buy
blah.
So it's all good.
Well, who knows? Maybe. But the reality is nobody wants Disney to fail. It makes me happy to know for the long term that Disney has done everything in its power to take care of its cast members, because I think that's probably one of the most important things they could possibly do. It's in their advantage to do so, because obviously when that park does decide to open, when those theater shows start running, they're going to need those people back, and they're going to need them back ASAP. There's going to be all like refresh training and all sorts of shit that's going to have to happen before they even start really opening those parks. So it's good that they're trying to take care of their people, but like any company, they're not going to be able to sustain this much longer without any help.
It's only going to go so far before they have to really make the bad, or not bad decision, but the really hurtful decisions. There you go. The difficult decisions.
It's interesting too, because like you were talking about earlier, Nick, and Joel had touched on it too, which is the idea that when they do decide to open, it's a good possibility that it's not going to be open to the extent of what we are used to or what we expect. Meaning, like maybe they open with I don't know, like 50 to 75% of the cast that normally runs the resort. I mean, I don't know. That results in certain rides being shut down or certain lands being shut down, or I don't know.
And I'm sure
we just don't know.
I'm sure they're weighing the options of like, okay, if we had to open at reduced cast capacity, what things can we run attraction wise? What shows can we run? Guest control is going to be a big thing about that, determining what they can do show wise and spectaculars. And I think that the goal obviously is to open up with everything in full operation. I think they're going to assess that as they get closer to it, especially if they end up picking a date like kind of super last minute. Because like I said, a lot of the entertainment operations are planning for at least 3 weeks before the date in which they want to open the gates again.
Right.
That makes sense. To do all the things you said. But here's the thing. There's so much stuff involved in reopening a park that people don't think about. I mean, obviously, it's running the rides, right? Testing all the rides, running all the show elements.
But they do have people there now running them daily.
Not all the rides are running daily, but they are.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they are running. There is a entertainment crew that's been there a few days throughout the week, and like Fantasmic is, they run all their stuff every Friday just to like exercise the dragon and light the river on fire, which is super fun to do during the day. And like and super heavy, like technology heavy shows like Frozen and World of Color specifically. there's a skeleton crew that's like exercising all those systems, but when you go to reopen the park and like run these shows, and I'm just going to speak from the entertainment aspect of it.
Sure.
It's not just a matter of like running all the stuff and making sure that you can run a show. There's still inspections that haven't been done.
Right.
So you still have to go do those, even if the machinery that you're running is working. You still have to go do the monthlies and the weeklies and do all
So the
these
skeleton
things.
crews are not doing the inspections right now? Wow. Okay.
It depends, because if the crew that happens to be there can do a particular inspection, then they'll do it. But in the case of Phantasmic, it's really just to run all of the effects, get things cycled because they've been sitting there for a week, and a lot of the things, especially that live in water, like World of Color, that shit doesn't like to sit there very long. So
of course. So they didn't pick technicians that had knowledge of a broad knowledge, so to speak, meaning like they could potentially do all the inspecting. They didn't do that, or like who's there? So what? Because there's only 8 technicians.
I don't think we should talk about this.
Okay, fair enough. All right, you're right. All right, I'll stop. All right, stop.
Yeah. We'll do our final thoughts on the Bob topic, and then we can talk about that after.
But I do want to say that just with that, and we're not going to go into specifics on air, but what I will say is that there's 2 different groups, right? There's the people that have been operating the park so far, and then there will be a skeleton crew later on. But yes, they have thought about all that stuff. And then we'll go into detail about that afterwards.
Yes, and I for whatever reason, just so people know outside of this conversation, it's like we don't want them to think that it's not safe, because they obviously will be checking and make sure that.
And I can absolutely guarantee that both with attractions and rides, if those inspection stuff weren't done, even if it's running just fine, they won't open. So all that stuff's got to get done. The safety is the number one thing.
And they will totally make sure that happens.
It all costs money without bringing in profits.
Right, exactly. They're going to have to spend more before anything comes back into place.
Yep.
But that goes back to the whole goddamn thing that we were talking about before this virus happened, which is, you keep blowing all your money, buying all these properties and pissing your fans off. You're not going to get the income that you need. See, that fucking nest egg would be helping them out now if they hadn't done all that goddamn shit.
But here's also the thing, too. As soon as they announce when they're going to open the parks up again, or when they start putting the tours out or whatever, they're going to pre-sell tickets to get money back at least before they open right away. You know what I mean? Like, Disneyland's going to open, July 1st. We're announcing this June 1st. And they're going to take that whole month. And they're like, we're pre-selling tickets for these days and blah, blah, blah. That's going to help a bunch. I'm sure people are going to plan out so much.
Well, I hope, in a weird sort of way, I really do hope that because of this whole situation, and they're going to need guaranteed money as opposed to just catering to a small group of individuals, that maybe they'll just back the fuck off on some of the stuff that they've been pushing so that it's more inclusive to everybody. Because I feel like Disney has been a company that's already been inclusive for everybody, but they become a company that is actually non-reclusive because they focus on a small group of individuals more than they do the regular public, if that makes any sense. And I feel like, you look at it, Marvel Comics, we'll talk about it in another podcast, but like their whole idea of goddamn safe space and whatever the other characters are coming up with now. It's like, just go back to Captain America for a while. You know what I mean?
Captain COVID.
So, yeah.
No, that's the villain,
else.
Right? That's the villain. That's like,
it'll be the villain.
Dr. COVID.
I wanted to talk to Nick about something else, but I can't remember now for the life of me what it was. But
well, Matt, I got all the time in the world, so if you think about it later.
I'm sure you do. Well, we're Nick, Joel and I don't normally do hour-long podcasts. This is like one of the first ones we've done where
no, the last one we did with him was close to an hour.
It was
too.
With you too, yeah. With you too, it was close to an hour.
To say.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we know.
Well, it's nice because, like everybody has their hands in different locations. And so it's just nice to hear. Oh, I know what I was going to say. For our listeners, the reason why we're talking so much about the parks is, in case you didn't know, but like other than the studios, the parks are like the major revenue stream for the Walt Disney Company as a whole.
Yes.
So like it's very significant that the parks survive. If the parks don't survive, the company is in serious shit. So basically with the entertainment industry, like ESPN, for example, there's no sports. So that's out the window. You've got Disney Plus, which helps because you got all this media that's already in place. So you don't have to really make new content. You got all this old shit you can watch for a little while. So they're not too worried about Disney Plus. But then you've got like Joel was talking about the theatrical shows on tour and whatnot on Broadway, and then you have the movie industry, and the movie industry is pumping the brakes. You've seen how it's affecting AMC theaters. You see how They're holding movies that should have been released now, and they're waiting until a later date to maybe get through this coronavirus so that people can actually watch them in theaters. And you can also look at it that they're starting to put them digitally. Like now, like some of the movies are coming out digitally, like Onward. They just said, "Fuck it, we're just going to put it out on Disney Plus," because there's really, what can you do? So the parks are very significant to the company, and when things have gone south in the past in other areas of the company, it's always been the parks and the resorts and the cruise lines that have bailed them out. So that's why we've been focusing so much on this aspect of the conversation when it comes to Disney.
Sure.
Well said, Matt.
Yeah.
With those final thoughts, does anyone else have final thoughts?
I don't know, Nick. Do you have any foresight in the near future of what you think is going to happen, take place?
I think the parks will be back soon enough. I don't think it's going to be my.
What's your prediction on month? What month?
So I already made a mental assumption that the parks were not going to be open through May. That was just my personal assumption. So anything they've set up until then,
which isn't that far.
Yeah, everything they set up until then is not a shock to me, just because I've already made up my mind that that's when it was going to happen. So my first mental milestone is May 31st. In reality, I think the parks are probably going to open up sometime at the end of June, maybe mid-June or end of June, early July. If it goes beyond that, I think we have more things to worry about.
That's what I was thinking too as well.
That's I'm just telling from an outside perspective, just watching the situation, the environment as a whole. I know that's great for Disney and for anyone that works for the parks, but to me, just watching California as a whole, it doesn't look like it might be too soon. I'm just saying, the line between when is it safe versus when is the economy going to tank and nowhere to recover, I was thinking more like July, realistically speaking, because California, they're, like I said, they've flattened out, or they're starting their flatten out process, but they also just admitted that they're about 80% behind on how many people are actually have the disease and have not been recorded.
It's just like saying, hey, I just jumped out of this airplane. Let's pull this parachute. Hey, it's slowing our descent. That's perfect. Let's cut him now. Let's get out of this.
Well, I hope
we don't cut the lines until we land.
When the parks open, that they stay open, because if they have to stop again, I do fear greatly for the resort. I mean, we already have a world without Michael Jackson and Prince. I would hate to see a world without Disneyland.
Yeah.
I don't want anything like that to happen. So I'm hoping when they do open, whatever process is put in place, I hope it maintains it so that it stays open. And I hope whoever makes those decisions, even if they have to pump the brakes for one more month and it hurts the company a little bit more, if it makes it better for them to do that and it's successful in the long run, I hope that's what they do.
And I got to say, whatever they decide to do, I'm glad I'm not one of those people wearing those pants making those decisions, because I can't imagine the amount of stress that is on those people's shoulders.
I do not envy those people.
Not at all.
The people with kids.
I don't think you could pay me enough to make those decisions.
No, and I think one of those situations too is where, as much as I hate, like I said, the politics that Disney's been shoveling down our goddamn throats for the last 2.5 years, I would do everything in my power to make sure that they survive. I think the legacy of Walt Disney, meaning him and how he started the company, I would want that to survive. And if we have a bunch of a-holes running it now, that's fine. But it would be a shame for that to end so quickly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. Joel, do you have any final thoughts? I mean, I feel like we've beaten a dead horse.
We have been, and I just want to hope everyone's safe and they stay quarantined or do whatever they got to do to stay safe and healthy. Nick, the joke is that the episode will post tomorrow.
Oh,
as in tonight or today or whatever.
So you got to send the file tonight.
I'll send it to you right away.
And on that note, I want to say thank you for joining us for Entertainment Banter. My name is Joel.
And I'm Matt.
I'm Nick.
Yay! And I'm done.